Hello. Today I want to talk a little bit about working with acceptance and tics. Now, acceptance has a lot of notions of what we might think it means. We might think if we accept something that it's because we like it, or that we are comfortable with it, or that we should like or be comfortable with it in order to accept it. This isn't necessarily true. Accepting something means that there is an experience and a knowledge of that thing, and whether we like it or not, whether we intend to change it or not, we must accept first the experience and the knowledge that comes with it in order to begin to change it. Now, one example that I've heard before is the idea of if you're standing on slippery ice, if you don't accept that you are on the ice and simply try to run, then you will probably fall. And then you'll get up and you'll try to run again and fall and continue doing this and getting bruised and banged up and not really liking that. The first step to really getting off of that ice is accepting that that is where you are, that you are indeed on ice, and there are a lot of things that come with that, including maybe being cold and having slippery ground beneath you. So, a few things that I want to describe first about tics and working with acceptance in tics is, first, it's okay to be bothered. We don't necessarily have to like tics. We usually don't. Sometimes we don't notice them, but the ones that we are aware of, we usually wish that they would not happen. And that, as I've described before in an earlier video, that's kind of part of the process that keeps it going too. We don't really like it, and so we're bothered by it, and it strengthens the tic. And it's okay to not like it. These are things that are fine and normal and to be expected. So one of the first things for us to accept is that feeling of being bothered, a feeling of not liking it. Next, we might anticipate that other people will notice the tics, and they might look at us when we perform the tics. We're not performing them for their benefit, yet they will look at us anyway, because they don't know what's going on, they don't understand it, and it might surprise them, and so they will look. So we accept as well that other people will look at us when we perform tics, and they will make us feel uncomfortable. So, accepting these things, we can set that aside and then ask ourselves, well, can I change any of this stuff here? Can I change that other people look at me? No, I probably cannot. It would certainly be very hard to do. Maybe if I had an invisible cloak or something, then I could hide and nobody would ever see my tics. Or I could refuse to ever go out and nobody would ever see my tics. But that's awfully limiting for my life. If I don't go out, I deprive myself of many experiences that I wish to have, that I might enjoy. And that suddenly means that my tics are having an even bigger effect on my life. They were already making me uncomfortable and I did not like them, but now they're keeping me from doing things that matter to me. And that's not especially helpful either. So, I can't necessarily change that other people might look at me. Now, what can I change? Can I change the tics? Maybe. That often is possible with some work. It does require work, but it often yields a benefit. It's kind of like if I wanted to get better at jogging and being able to go for longer distances or go faster. If I do it long enough, I will probably get better at it. There will be limitations, right? Like, I can only go so fast. Not very fast, for the record. And that means then that there is a limit to how much benefit I can expect from that, and that's okay. I can improve myself somewhat just by practicing. Same with tics. The next question is, can I accept that there is a difference between me and others? And that's not always easy to do. And we can challenge ourselves a little bit with that. Let me give you an example. ask yourself for a moment, say like, okay, am I handicapped? Immediately, my brain tells me, no, I am not. Okay, I can hear that. I can, well, recognize that. I can notice that my brain does. It doesn't necessarily mean I have to believe it. It may be true, may not be true, but it's a strong statement and it is likely to produce a strong response. So, I don't know that I would feel comfortable identifying myself as handicapped. It makes me uncomfortable to think of that. So now I might ask, well, why am I uncomfortable thinking that? And that's where things kind of get a little bit interesting. We can explore that in our own minds, in our own privacy. We can explore like, well, why do I feel uncomfortable with that? Is it because of associations I have with the idea of being handicapped? Maybe I'm not comfortable with the idea of being handicapped. Maybe I don't want to be handicapped because of what that might mean. It means I'm limited, or it means I'm different, and other people will notice that. Well, okay. These aren't the types of things that I would want to be able to recognize myself, or that I would want other people to think of me as. But in the privacy of my own brain, I could kind of sit with that, recognize that part of my brain has that thought, has that connection. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's who I am. It's just part of how my brain responds. Okay. That goes back to, again, the idea that acceptance does not mean that you like it. To accept something doesn't mean you don't want to change it. It doesn't mean that you like it, that you're going to keep it that way forever. Accepting just means recognizing, well, this is where I am at right now. This is kind of just what my experience is right now. And there are a lot of things that come with that. Okay. Now, what would I like to do with it? Well, I want to change my tics a little bit. I want to try to see what I can do to reduce them or change how they affect my life. If there are some tics that I cannot change, do I want to limit myself? Is there some aspect of my appearance that I wouldn't be comfortable going out in public with? Does that limit me then? Or do I accept that, okay, there's that difference. I'm still going to go out in public and do the things that matter to me. And being able to practice that acceptance with tics is important because it takes time to make a change in tics. But we don't necessarily need to hold back from living our lives in the way that's meaningful for us while we work on making that change. All right. So again, if there are any questions or any thoughts, I would like to invite you to send me an email. I think the email address is galleon.tube@gmail.com because it's on YouTube. So galleon.tube@gmail.com. And I think I also put that into the description, so hopefully it's easier to see because, sometimes we don't always hear things as clearly as the person saying it imagines it to be. I'll also post this on Facebook if I can ever figure it out. Other social media platforms or things like that to make it easier to find. And then you can ask me questions there too. All right. Thank you.